You're listening to another episode of Mr. Allard's Neighborhood. This is the place we're entitled to Brad's opinion. And now for your host, Brad Allard.
Well, how you doing, Taylor?
Well, how are you?
Oh, it's another great day in beautiful Johnson County. Or I guess we're in Tarrant County with this studio. But anyway, whatever. Beautiful day in Texas. And I have two guests here that are well known to all of y'all here. They've been... This is what, your fourth visit? Fifth visit? I don't know.
Somewhere in there.
Yeah, that's right. These are the ladies from Next Step Women's Center. Summer Garcia, Megan Hollowell Swearingen. See, I have to put the Hollowell in front so I remember. No, it's Swearingen. Do people still do that to you?
Yeah. There's someone who saw me, Hollowell. And I'm like, oh, hi.
Yeah.
It's been a while. But,
well, it's okay.
It's totally okay. I'll always be a Hollowell.
Yeah, that's right. Well, I had Jamie Lehman Alkire on Monday, and I kept calling her Jamie Lehman.
I still call her Jamie Lehman.
Yeah, so anyway, it was just one of those things. But we're going to talk about the busy week y'all must be having. Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, some of you need yours a little closer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But it's obviously that ruling on last Friday has impacted y'all in various ways, and we're going to talk about that impact. I'll handle the politics, and so I won't put y'all on the spot, because really your mission really hasn't changed, has it?
No.
I mean,
it won't.
Well, it may have increased. It may expand, but it isn't like Thursday you're doing one thing, Friday you're doing another, and Monday it was, you're still doing the same thing Monday you did Friday, right? Mm-hmm. And I think that's something that needs to be pointed out, because a lot of people have the wrong ideas. And I'll mention some of this stuff, but I'll handle the politics, so y'all don't have to be associated with that, And we're really not going to talk about that much at all, because that's been talked about at length. I talked about it on a show last Thursday, and I invite y'all to access that out there in my vast listening audience. But anyway, before we jump into that, let's talk about the sponsors who make this happen. And they like these shows. They really do, because even my sponsors are a varied group, but they all are united in helping young women in these situations. Anyway, before I jump on, Taylor, are you having problems with Facebook?
It looks like it's up for me.
Okay, well, I'm not getting it, but that's my problem.
It says we're live.
Okay, well,
on
good.
my end.
Anyway, let's talk about the sponsors. All right, Daniel Baisden at CrossFit Burleson, 317 Southwest Wilshire. You can check out the page for his training programs, membership plans, hours of operation. It's so hot outside. You need to work out. If you're going to work out this diligently, you need to do it in a controlled environment, because you can overheat. I get hot just walking from the car to the garage. All right. Anyway, so CrossFit Burleson, 317 Southwest Wilshire. And then you have Shandy Stogsdill. Obviously, we talked about real estate at length. She comes on once a quarter, and she always has these really, really good data and stats and things of that nature. And, if you're going to move into this area, you're going to need somebody like Shandy to help you navigate through it, because it's getting confusing, and it's expensive, and you need somebody that knows what they're doing. So Shandy Stoggs has been doing it for a long time. I mean, she's been doing this really since she left high school, which wasn't that long ago, Shandy. Don't get upset. Anyway, so there you are. And thank you to Rex Russell, who's also been doing what he's done for a long time. You know Rex, don't you?
Yep.
Yeah, from back in church days and whatnot.
Those youth group. I hung out with Dawson a lot.
Yeah.
Watched a lot of movies at his house,
Really? I'm sure they're wholesome, fine Disney movies.
They were at least like PG.
Yeah.
They were appropriate for teenagers.
Okay, you're not talking about like Die Hard with a Vengeance or anything like that.
No, it wasn't intense. It wasn't intense. It was they kept a good eye on us.
Okay.
They had a nice youth group friendly house.
Oh, that's good. All right. Well, thank you, Rex, over in Cleveland. He'll come meet you where you are and help you navigate through the stock markets, which are, let's see, I want to see what the stock market's doing right now, if my phone's working. Not good. Dropped a bunch, but that's okay. It goes up, it goes down. You need somebody like Rex to hold your hand so you won't jump off the ledge. So hit myfinancialbox.com and see a video about him, and he'll come meet you, have a little coffee with you. Also, Southern Jim. Now, I don't know if you were here last time, but Robin works for him now.
Oh.
Yeah, she works for Gayla Morse, who's a member of First, and she's working there this summer. And then Robin's leaving the school district fairly soon, and when that happens, she'll be working there, every week.
That's fun.
Yeah. Oh, she loves it. Robin, yeah, it's dangerous for me.
Question is, are you saving or making money? Or are you...
If I hadn't just put my foot down, I'd be deep in debt because she comes and says, oh, this beautiful piece, this beautiful ring, this, she just goes nuts. And they do more than just inventory. They have cleaning, they have repair, they have design, appraisal, the whole 9 yards. And so it's on the top of the windmill building. You need Chad take you up there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, put it on his list.
Or Mr. Garcia. I forgot his first name.
Joel.
No, okay. Have him up there and tell him to bring his wallet. Anyway, and thank you to Michelle Umfrey at HotWorks. I'm going to have her on next Thursday. And we're going to talk about not just her infrared workout system, but she just has some things on her mind. And I said, you got a spot at the table. That's what it's all about. So we're going to visit. And she's a very impressive person because she's an entrepreneur and works very hard at her business, and I'm very impressed with her. So HotWorks on 731. It's over by Kroger Premier Theaters. It's called The Commons, I found out. I did not know that. Also, Mandy Hard tomorrow. Mandy and I are getting together at our place she's going to hand over my swag. She makes promotional items. Like hats and cups, which she's bringing. Also pins, shirts. Taylor's used them for banners. They get the whole thing over there at 1187. So I don't know if y'all need some.
That's what made me looking at each other.
Well, I had heard you mention her before. Well, because when I'm listening, I've checked out her website. It looks good.
It is good stuff.
It does look good.
She and I are members of BNI, as is Michelle, as is Gayla. That's how I got to meet these ladies. And she's done work for several of my colleagues. That's why I said I want some of that. And because she does really good work, there was like one of the friends wanted to give gift boxes, wooden gift boxes, a little slide opening and whatever else you can put, whatever you put in there. And they were well made. And so, so if y'all are looking for promotional stuff, I would definitely take a look at her.
Yeah.
All right. And so, well, good. I'll tell her advertising pays off. All right. Anyway, so let's kind of backtrack. One of the things that was concerning me when after the ruling, I saw a lot of vandalism, a lot of violence against some of these pregnancy aid centers or other types of counseling centers, whatever else. Were you afraid that would happen to y'all?
I was. Mm-hmm. It started right after the leak came out. Mm-hmm. You saw two groups kind of put some things out there and some threats. And so, yes.
Yeah. Some group called Jane's Revenge.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And then there's another one Ruth sent me.
Yes, Ruth sent me, yes. Mm-hmm. And I was wondering, in my mind, I thought, not in Burleson, because, most people in Burleson here are fairly conservative, and probably the majority, not all certainly, but majority of the Burleson residents more or less supported the Overturner Road. But I just wondered if maybe some group from Tarrant County pick you out of the phone book or something like that and come down here and visit some violence upon you. And so y'all were concerned about that, right?
I was, because I read the what they put out there, and I am on a group with pregnancy center directors all over Texas, and I know that the pregnancy center in Denton did receive some vandalism and down in Austin, and so I was concerned.
What happened, if anything?
As far as in Denton?
No,
to us.
Yeah.
Praise God, we have been good. I do believe that Burleson just has an amazing police force, and so far so good.
So have they made any special accommodations, the police, to come
they
make sure?
did. When the ruling came out Friday, that was one of the first phone calls I made, was to the Burleson Police Department. And, they were so kind. And so, they already kind of were aware of the threats that had been made across America. And I just felt a need to go. We're typically closed on Fridays, but I felt a need to just be at the center. And so when I got there was actually a police officer parked behind our building, just sitting there, and it just gave me such a peace.
Well, I'm not surprised one bit. I had Billy Cordell on last week, and I was not just impressed with him, but the old Burleson PD. And I'm not surprised that they were proactive in that.
Absolutely.
And so, but oops, doggone it, my earphones fell off. Anyway, y'all didn't have any like nasty phone calls or nasty emails?
We've had
or
no
whatever?
nasty phone calls, no threats, nothing on social media. We have only had really positive responses from the people who follow us.
And what kind of responses are you getting?
Well, Monday morning, we finished our morning staff meeting, and we had a woman at the door saying, "How can I serve?" and had her checkbook out ready to give.
And that's what I like to hear.
That was a great way to start the day, and it just kept coming. We had a pastor stop by. We had a young adult group leader stop by. We had several people come in throughout the day to come just be with us and say, how can we help? And so we're so grateful that we live in a community where that's the response.
Well, that is reassuring. And so on the second half of the show, we're going to talk about your needs, and you brought some stats, and we look like a phenomenal number of diapers for giving out so far this year. But I was concerned a little bit that y'all would be hassled. I'm thinking, but really just across the country, I'm thinking, why are they hassling y'all? I mean, y'all are not a political organization.
No.
You know, y'all are not involved in lobbying. You're not involved in getting the vote out. You know, in fact, I remember when you were on the last time, you talking about your March for Life. You made it very clear in your advertising, this is not an anti-Roe march or whatever.
Right.
You know,
Right.
because you didn't really want to be associated with all that. Now, of course, you know, we all know about our feelings about the case and all this other stuff, but that doesn't influence how you handle your business. And I just thought, why are they giving y'all a hard time?
Right.
Or nationwide. But some people, I guess y'all were just the only target they could focus on. And that's just unfortunate. You know, when abortion centers, you know, Planned Parenthood clinics were being firebombed and all, I had the same opinion. That's not the way you handle it.
No.
Not at all.
You know, that's not it. I mean, you're not going to change any minds that way. And you're not going to further the kingdom that way, so to speak, is by using violence. And so, but anyway, but now that this has happened, have y'all seen any kind of change in like the numbers in this week? I mean, it's only been 1 week. It's only been like 6 days, right? But have you even noticed early on any change in your numbers?
To me, this week has been business as usual. We, in fact, you know, I've asked several times, you know, what's kind of the pulse of the clients that we've seen, and it's just not any change at all. Everybody's still coming as they need things and with their things that they need and are looking for, and so I haven't seen an increase or necessarily a decrease. It's just been
Business as usual.
business as usual, and it's been phenomenal.
Well, good. I'm glad it hasn't affected it, you know, negatively, certainly.
Right.
But there is going to be an increase in your business.
There is.
Oh,
yeah.
yes.
And we're preparing for it. We know it's coming.
Well, and when you say you're preparing for it, what are you preparing for?
Oh, we're just preparing for an increase of clients. So we're looking for volunteers, and we're looking at our budgets and how we can get more diapers. We're doing diaper drives. How can we meet the need that's coming? Because it's coming.
Yeah, we just finished a diaper drive. It was City Market here in town.
Yes.
Did that work out well?
It was great.
Really?
They were so good and so easy to work with at City Market, and so happy to help. And then their shoppers were fabulous. We brought in over 1,000 diapers, and we count them individually because all the packs are different. And so when we're doing our numbers, it's all by diaper number. But we had quite a few. I had a huge cart full of packs. In just one trip, I had to make a couple. So,
well, that's great to know. I mean, that's, you know, one of the shows I did last week. I did a special show, basically calling out our side of the argument, so to speak. Now that this has happened, we're going to have to step up our game.
Yes.
All right, because and both public programs and private programs. You know, we can't go and say, well, that's done, move on. If we're going to work for the birth of these children, then we need to take care of them at all stages. You know, in school, and make sure they have proper education, proper nutrition, proper medical care. You know, you probably, I don't know if you'll work with them yet, but we have a new clinic here in town, the Burleson Medical Clinic, right?
Yeah.
And they're probably going to get increased business.
Yes,
so,
they are.
You know, so they're going, you know, not just pediatrics, but, you know, all the way through. And it's meant for people without insurance, and there are a lot of people out there, unfortunately, without insurance. And so they're going to get an increase, and the school's going to get an increase, and we can't begrudge them the free lunch program or other types of outside the educational sphere, shall we say. I mean, those kind of life services.
Childcare. Childcare is going to be huge.
Yeah, it's going to have to, and how that's going to be resolved, I'm not real sure. I don't have all the answers to it, but it has to happen that our side of the argument again has to support expanded child services, and we can't be worried about the legislature shaving off a couple of pennies off the property tax. I've been, Dan Patrick's, crowing about this ruling. Great, now pony up. It's time to put up, and because this is something that a lot of people wanted for a long time,
right?
But it didn't come. It's going to come with some sacrifices on the pro-life side.
Yeah, and this is where I keep saying we got to roll up our sleeves now. Let's get to work.
And I've seen other areas in which people have said that, but I just don't think people really realize. Maybe a couple of years from now they will. If this ruling, does what we expect it to do, you're going to see more babies born.
Yes.
And you're going to see, need for expanded health care and prenatal care. On that front, are y'all going to expand your services more than what you have now?
That's my vision. That's my goal. I know that was Jane's vision and goal, and that's something that we're meeting about with the board. I just had a conversation earlier with someone. I would love to see us expand our services. I would love for us to help out with some prenatal care, especially when she's waiting to get on Medicaid. There's sometimes a gap there. She needs prenatal care, and so we want to be able to offer that. We want to be able to offer STD testing and treatment, well woman care, just kind of meet those needs.
Well, right now, as far as the medical provision, it's the sonograms and counseling and things of that nature. But we've talked about before how you'd like to have your own clinic with full services. Is that progressing at all?
That's kind of still in the infancy, but that is.
We are having meetings, strategic meetings on what our next steps are to make that happen.
Yes.
In its infancy. Was that a pun?
I know. Oh, how funny!
Yeah, okay, but anyway, that would be great if that could happen.
Yes,
absolutely, and because it's more than just the whole pregnancy experience. I don't have to tell you. Wait, 8 kids?
4,
yeah.
Sometimes they feel like it.
Yeah, right. But it's a full deal, and it's not just particularly for these young men who don't know what pregnancy is like. I didn't know when my wife was pregnant. I learned a lot. Let's put it that way. There's a whole range of services that they need that they may not be getting.
Well, and you just said something too. You didn't know being the father, and that is something else that we are really intent on is starting a fatherhood ministry, and where we're really reaching out to these dads and helping them.
Are you reaching out to the young people, I guess, because we've seen your stats, and they're all ages, but
Right.
Probably a lot of this is focused on younger people. Do y'all have, how should I put it, educational services before a girl is pregnant?
We're not doing that currently. I know that we've done that in the past, and that is something that we're kind of looking at, and is that where we need to go. But we do our educational services that we have. We do start at prenatal, and we go all the way through their 3rd, 4th year of the child's life. And it's our educational department is growing, and it's very beneficial. And we've had so many parents.
And we have moms and dads in that. We have a lot of dads.
And a lot of them are like, wow, I don't know what I would have done without this.
So the young men, are they showing up in bigger numbers than they used to?
They are, and that's why I want to really expand our dads, because us, Megan and I, and all of the women in our center, man, we can talk all day about what's going on in her body. But there's only so much we know with what he's feeling and what he's going through. And so he needs a man to say, hey, listen, I know what you're feeling. I know what you're going through. And, here's how I can walk alongside you. So we are really calling out for some men that are willing to come and volunteer their time to mentor and talk to these dads.
And that's interesting, because a lot of these centers are focused exclusively on the mothers, and I'm glad that y'all are expanding for the fathers, because I was a married man. I was nearly 30 when my wife first got pregnant, and it's eye-opening.
It is.
It is.
And we were financially stable, or at least as stable as one can be. And so
Well, and a lot of the dads that we're seeing are maybe even 19, 20, like young guys. And so those conversations are very important for them.
Well, one of my sponsors here, Antonio Basalo, whom I'll get on the second round, is texted, as a single male without kids, how can I help? And you're kind of describing that. He can volunteer at the center, right?
There are so many ways he can help.
I remember him in high school. This was an important issue for him. He and his sister both. And so it didn't surprise me that he's raising his hand, because he's that type of guy.
A good starting point for anyone is to call us and schedule a tour. Maybe just for you, maybe with you and a friend, but come walk through the center, see what it looks like, because we walk through from the moment she walks through the door, or the couple walks through the door, throughout the whole process with them in our tour. And those are good moments to have a conversation where you can start to go, well, maybe I could do this, or how, maybe I could give here. Of course, funding is always helpful, and diapers are always helpful.
Well, that can't run on just good wishes. You need to have the money.
Absolutely. But we really are open, especially almost any evening, to be like, let's go walk through the center and talk about what that looks like and how you might be more interested in being involved.
We've talked before about the process when a young lady comes to ask about your services, about your counseling processes and what is said and what is not said. And I'll bring this up. I saw on NBC News something that really offended me last week, and you know what I'm talking about, don't you? All right, it was a couple of days ago, and it was a hit piece, is the only way I could put it, about pregnancy aid centers, pressuring young women and all this other stuff, and they had a couple of Texas lawmakers that were just aghast at what was going on in these clinics with state money, and there was no counterbalance. There was no response from the other side, rebuttal, whatever you want to call it. It was strictly about how terrible these clinics were towards these young women. And I was like, this is example why people hate the media. NBC News, when it comes to the economy or Ukraine, they're kind of, more or less balanced. But this was completely a hit job. And that doesn't happen with y'all. I didn't see anything in that piece that reminded me of what y'all do. Y'all would not ever do what NBC News and these two Texas lawmakers said happened.
No.
So tell us, for the record, what happens? Young girl walks in and says, I may be pregnant.
Well, we do a pregnancy test, and we're going to find out what else is going on in her life, what other resources that we might have that we can help her with. We had a young client one time that her kids had eaten soup for the past 2 weeks, and she had no food, and so we were like, okay, we can connect her with Harvest House, and we did. And so that's kind of what we do, and we do talk about. We do talk about, because you have three options. You can parent, you can make an adoption plan, or you can have an abortion. And we lay out the facts. We don't use scare tactics.
Nope.
We don't use videos. We just lay out the facts. We use a book that the Texas Human and Health
and Human Services.
Thank you. I always get that backwards.
Yeah.
Has put out, that is not pro-life or pro-choice. It's
unbiased medical information from an expert resource.
Yes. And so that's what we use. That's the resources we use.
Now, it is a faith-based operation, and most people understand that when they walk in, right?
It is. We always ask permission before we even share the gospel or pray.
Offer to pray or any. Our client advocate is not ever going to bring up any religious discussion without permission. They might check a box of what are you? We had a Buddhist couple come in yesterday.
Really?
What religion are you? That's in our demographics information, but we're not having spiritual discussions unless they say, yeah, I'd like to have a spiritual discussion. And then one of our soul care advocates will come in and have that. And that's almost a separate conversation from whatever the client advocate said. So if this young woman is abortion minded, the soul care advocate isn't bringing that up until she brings it up. And so I've been in the room where I've been like, okay, how can I pray for you? How are you feeling? I normally say, how are you feeling? And they'll just look at me for a minute, and I'll say, nervous, excited, overwhelmed. And usually I get all of those. Yes, I get a check. And then, okay, what's making you feel overwhelmed? And we'll talk through those things. And maybe their choices will come out in that conversation, and maybe they won't, and that's okay, because I'm just going to meet her exactly where she is and pray where she wants that prayer. But if I'm not invited into a part of her thinking process or anything, I'm not barging in anywhere.
So it isn't like you corral them, take them to a room, and start hammering them with the New Testament.
No.
And see, and there are some nitwits out there that think that's what y'all do, or any other faith-based operation, and that just kind of gets under my skin, because I know that that's not what happens. That people walk in and they know that you have a position on faith, but you don't make them adopt it to get your services. You don't make them acknowledge, okay, I'll check this box. Say whatever you need me to say. They could walk out of there in the same spiritual condition they came in, and I just, I don't know. I just get a little bit fried about that, and I bet y'all do too, because it's unfair, and because I've seen y'all in action, and I know that you're there for the care of the child and the mother, and if she wants it, the spiritual care. But first and foremost, it's the health care.
Care, love, and support is what we pride ourselves on.
Yeah. Well, on the other side of the commercial, we're going to talk about what that means and also what y'all need. Because y'all going to, I'm sure, I know that we're going to have more instances of clients coming in because of the change in the laws. And, you might need more space. We can talk about that too. All right. So anyway, let's go to the sponsors. Otto at our place. I was there earlier this week. I'll be there tomorrow. I do a lot of my B&I business there, my networking group there, because it's a nice, comfortable place, and he's a genial host, and I make fun of him. He walks around that place like he's Dean Martin, so whatever. And so, don't want to catch you with a mouthful of water, dear. Sorry. Our place, I bet y'all go there. I know you do. I've seen you post pictures there, get the pancakes or whatnot.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Chicken fried steak's good. Also, Wild Cigar. Now, Chad doesn't smoke, does he?
No.
He needs to. Now, I was there last Friday, and it's a friend of mine who likes cigars, and it's a great place. They got a great humidor, and if you're not really know what you want, they got tobacconists can help you. You say, okay, tell them this is what you want to experience, and say, well, this is the kind of cigars that do it. And it also has a very nice bar. It's very quiet. It's a good place to do business. It's probably the nicest bar in town. Well, not probably, it is. So I really endorse it. Also, this is Antonio's business, proactive payment solutions with point of sales operations. So if you want to upgrade your point of sales operations and your whole online business experience, try proactivepaymentsolution.com. And like I mentioned, Antonio, this whole topic has been something close to his heart since I've known him. He was a student of mine for a couple of years, of course, the last couple of years of his high school. And he has a really interesting story, too. So I had him on a couple of months ago because he's one of these that they call dreamer kids, which brings up a point. I'll get to it right after it. This next one. The magazine is out. Local Life magazine. Have you seen it, Taylor? You know who's the main topic for this issue?
Who is it? I don't know.
Sarah Carlson.
I saw
No
Sarah.
way. That's awesome.
Yeah, Sarah Carlson's been one of the hometown heroes, and they have a big old article. Now, I haven't gotten it yet, and I'll get it pretty soon, I'm sure, but it's out there.
Do you think she'll autograph it for us?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. She's a big shot.
You can probably talk her into it.
But,
Frame it.
Yeah, but Sarah Carlson's one of the main topics of this month's issue. So it's a big deal. Plus, Tiffany's running this 4th of July operation over at the Standard, and there's a QR code in the magazine and in her Facebook page and on her own personal locallifetx.com page, and click the QR and get tickets. It's like $10 a head, and there's all sorts of stuff going on out there, and you'll be able to see the fireworks real clearly because it's right across from Chisenhall where they do the fireworks. So there you go. So it's going to be a great place. Anyway, this is what I was going to ask. I guess I've never asked this before, but y'all don't check on that, citizenship or any of that kind of business.
No, we serve everyone regardless of
So
citizenship.
we'll walk in, and even if you know for sure that this is not a legally documented resident of our state, it doesn't matter.
Right.
Okay. And I'm glad to hear that, because I don't think Jesus said, but first, before you do unto others, check their ID, check their green card,
Yeah.
Yes. Every person who walks through our center will get the services that they need.
And I think they need to understand that.
Yes.
I don't know if they have a means of hearing this or getting this message, but they need to know that when they walk in there, everything is confidential.
Right. So they can walk in without fear for anything.
Well, part of the Texas law, we talked about this before, supposedly somebody outside this whole conversation could drop a dime, so to speak, on somebody. But they need to know that's not going to happen with y'all.
No, absolutely not.
So everything's confidential.
Yes.
And in residency or citizenship is not an issue.
Not an issue.
Faith-based.
Faith-based.
Their basis of their faith, whatever. Even if they walk in, they're pretty hostile. Even you're going to deal with them. And I think that's fantastic. And I think that's the word that needs to get out more than these stupid NBC shows that try to make you think that they're twisting arms and whatnot. Because that really just got all over me.
Me too. I lost my appetite.
Well, well, I just
I haven't watched it partially because Summer's response. I've heard all the things that she, it talked about, but I was like, all right, we had to have a special calm down moment.
Well, but really what made me mad about that is because somebody watching that who may be a client of y'all's or across this country, a client that would use y'all's services may think, I don't want to go through that, and I thought what that whole story did was discourage young women and young men from seeking out your help.
Right. That really, really need our help.
And so, now we talked about this on the shows, but it's always we're talking about what kind of help do you give all the way through this process. So, walk us through it. Girl comes in, I may be pregnant. What's the first thing?
A girl comes in, she might be pregnant. We'll do the, like she said, we'll do the pregnancy test. We'll walk through the options and just meet them where they are. If they ask for prayer, they get prayer. If they don't, that's great. We all hug them and love them and send them on their way with a gift bag, whether they're abortion-minded or not. We don't put as many baby supplies if they leave still going, I want an abortion. We kind of, just to alleviate that, we're not judging you and we're not pressuring you, but here's some really cozy socks and a snack. And that's the heart of it. And so...
well, let me stop you right here for a minute. You talk about the abortion-minded patient. Now that this has happened, what kind of conversations are you going to be able to have with somebody like that? You're not going to direct them to an abortion clinic and just...
Well, we never
we
had
never
and we
Right.
never would.
All
And
right.
so we don't refer for abortions at all ever before. So it really doesn't change that because it's not ever been up to us to figure that out for them.
Or decide that for
Or
them.
decide
Right.
that for them
Okay.
or anything. And so if that's still where they're leaning and they're like, well, I'm going to go to New Mexico or whatever, we love you and here's a gift. And if you need anything, we're here.
We're here.
And you all offer post-abortion counseling?
We do.
And I think that as Christians, that needs to be emphasized because, there are some of these celebrities that make it sound like it's a very cavalier choice, but they're idiots. I'm sure quite often the young ladies that are abortion-minded are very much struggling with this. And I know that it's something that they carried all their life, and so it has to be handled with some Christian compassion, and also without condemnation.
Absolutely.
Judgments are up to the Lord, not us.
Absolutely.
And
you're right. There's a lot of emotional stuff that just doesn't go away. And it's never been our heart to add to that emotional stuff, but only to encourage and love and help them walk in healing from that.
Well, and it's okay. And then after they said, well, we're going to keep the baby, what happens next?
Either way, if they would like a sono, they get a sono. And we'll usually schedule it at a different time depending on how far along they are. And they'll come in, we'll have a sono. We'll see baby. In the sono, we're really looking to make sure baby is in uterus. We want to make sure that we're, you mentioned before we were on ectopic pregnancy, we don't want, if anything looks off, we're going to send them to the ER. We're going to send that information to our medical director. We're it's our heart that everyone's safe. So we're looking to make sure baby's in the uterus. We're looking for that heartbeat and we're going to measure to to get a better estimate about how far along baby is. And then mom and dad get a gift box if they're both there.
We like to give gifts.
We really do.
Have you seen a rise in the number of young men participating in the last year or so?
Yes.
Okay, good.
It's so encouraging.
That is very encouraging
Yes.
because that's always been one of my irritations. That you have too many young men that make babies and then make tracks, and I'm glad to see that more of the young men are taking on this responsibility.
Yes, Tuesday I was in 2 different saunas. You know Martha Hadley?
Yes.
She still volunteers with us, and she's one of my favorite sonographers to go in with, partially because I've known her forever, but partially because she's so good at educating as she goes. But there were 2 couples where the dads were like tearing up seeing baby, and those is like the best day. It's like the best day.
I love being in the sonogram room, and I love seeing the mom, and I love seeing the baby. But I think my favorite thing is to see the dads, because that's the coolest thing.
Yes. Well, I'm glad to hear that more young men are realizing their responsibilities in this, because too often, and you probably see a whole lot of young women basically abandoned by their family or by the father. And so you go to the sonogram, you have the classes about parenting and all this. Do you connect them to a health clinic of some sort?
What we do, if they need help getting on Medicaid, we have someone on who helps sign them up, and so we'll get them hooked up with Medicaid. We give them a list of doctors that accept Medicaid, so they know where their options are, and they can go Google those people and find the reviews, and without having somewhere to start from. And then if they want to do classes, we'll do classes with every class. When they do prenatal, they get this whole, we call it a swag bag. And this week's swag bags, the dads got like backpacks, because we're not giving them girly diaper bags. They got backpacks full of it had diapers, it had snacks for them, it had a baby clothing item. And so they get swag bags for the prenatal. And then once they transition to doing the parenting classes, they'll get a pack of diapers, and every class you get baby bucks. And you can use those in our boutique, which we're hoping to expand in the next couple of months. That's our September Giving Tuesday push. We'll be raising funds to expand that to help with this need of we're going to need more supplies.
Right.
If they take 12 classes, they will earn a big baby item, which could be a car seat or a stroller.
Those aren't cheap.
Or no, they're not. Or a toddler bed, a pack and play. We have a list that we kind of go off of.
Wow. Now, we talked before in earlier shows about the desire of y'all to have like a full-on clinic. Is that, you say it's in its infancy? That's going to be quite an expense. Now, what I understand is across the street from y'all is the Hope for location.
We are still just figuring out where that land is.
Yeah.
We drive by a lot of places and kind of look and pray and dream, and so we're really hoping to get that launched in the very near future, so that we can start building towards that.
Oh, how big a lot do y'all need?
I would love to have 2 acres.
Yeah.
Because I would love to be able to put next up there and Rachel's, which would be really cool.
That would be nice. Yes.
How nice would that be? And there's I could just go on and on about my dreams about all of that, but that's what I would love to have, is 2 acres.
Now,
at least.
Do y'all accept public funding?
Do we accept public funding?
Yeah.
We receive some grants.
Yeah, from like the HHS down in Texas, down in Austin, rather.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, but almost exclusively you're privately financed.
We are privately financed.
Right, and these public fundings really are separate in a sense from what the original mission is. What is this money used for? The public money.
To help stash.
Really, we've been talking to other centers in our area, and we give out more material supplies than most other centers, just because we're able to offset with some of those.
So it's really more for
stuff.
Funds.
It's more the stuff that we're being able to give.
We get reimbursed.
That's how we give out car seats and pack and plays.
Well, is it any restrictions on what you say based on that?
Not really.
Not really. There's some. They're a little bit. They kind of keep us accountable in what medical information. Like the reason that we're so strategic in making sure it's an unbiased material, they kind of help us make sure that we're not like passing out pro-life flyers or something,
and that we're medically accurate,
accurate.
Medical stuff that we say.
Well, pro-life flyers, I think for y'all would be kind of redundant because again, well, people know.
They just keep us to make sure that we're being very intentional with every client and accurate and factual, and not the manipulation tactics that people talk about
that we saw on NBC.
Happening. Yes,
but I don't think anybody that walks in that door is misunderstanding that this is a faith-based operation,
right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's great, and I'm glad that you have a wide variety of clients, and now. Megan brought a bunch of stats here, and I was thinking here. I see the number of fathers that are going through the testing and sonogram process with their.
Yeah, we're not testing them for anything. They're just there for the test.
No, I didn't.
But
testing them for pregnancy, I'm not sure. I mean,
that's a whole different show.
Yeah, brother. I'll let that go. Anyway, but that, I'm glad. Like I said, I'm glad to see more young men taking an active interest in their own child. But you have. It looks like you've been given a bunch of sonograms and testing and things of that nature. And between the Burleson and the Fort Worth branches of your operation, you had 574 distinct clients for the last 6 months, or 5 months actually. Mm-hmm. That's where these stats go through. And that's a bunch.
That is a bunch.
It is a bunch.
Where do they come from mostly? From Burleson area or all over?
All over.
Yeah.
Yeah. We have quite a range in our area. We have a lot of like Alvarado or Cleburne or Fort Worth and Crowley. Mm-hmm. We have clients from all over.
We had a client on Monday that I was told came from Grapevine.
Grapevine, really?
Grapevine. Well,
I guess they probably want to be able to come in and without being recognized kind of thing. And, I'm sure there's some of that. And, I've told the story many times before. When I started teaching school, I thought it was one type of young lady that got pregnant. And now after about 3 or 4 years of teaching high school, I said, no, it's all over the spectrum, from solid two-parent families, with wherewithal and church attendance to, some people with much more drastic lifestyles, and so it's a not just a one area of our demographics; it's all across it, and that was a educational moment for me, to say the least. I remember more than once I'd have young babies in the back of the room because they couldn't find daycare, so I said, just bring them to class. No, it's not a big deal. But you try to keep kids' attention on, here we're going to talk about, the War of 1812 or whatever else, and there's a baby cooing in the background. Good luck. All the girls are looking. Oh yeah, or they would say, I brought my kids a couple of times, and all the young girls say, we'll take care of them, Stroud. We'll go take them over here and whatever. We'll get the notes later. And like, okay, sure. But anyway, I'm looking at all this other stuff. I'm talking about formula. Has the shortage of formula hit y'all pretty hard?
I one day, when it was really bad, about a month or so ago, something just struck me, and I went and I looked at our cabinets, and I'm like, because we do get donations of formula quite frequently, and we didn't have a ton, but we had quite a bit. Mm-hmm. And I said, let's get rid of this.
Yes.
These need to be in babies' bellies and not on our shelves. Mm-hmm. So Megan, of course, like she always does, kind of slaps her head like, okay.
I have to take a breath. How am I going to make this happen?
When I get ideas, I'm like, let's go. Let's do this now.
That wasn't the worst of the ideas. Yes. But sometimes she gets the big ones, and I have to go, okay, somewhere there's a lot of small steps before we get there. But this was not one of those. We posted on Burleson, Moms of Burleson, and then the girl who handles all of the making that happen was like, Megan, what did you do? Because we got calls like for 2 days straight, and emptied out our cabinet.
Moms of Burleson.
It's a Facebook group.
Oh, okay. So you just shortened it to mob.
Yeah.
The mob.
You could say that. Yes.
Yeah.
No, but that's where they all are.
Mm-hmm. Moms of Burleson.
That's where they all are.
I'm not on that page, so there you are. But that's a noble idea. It's not time to hoard, certainly.
No.
I want it in bellies and not on our shelves.
Otto and his brother Benji did this through Our Place.
I saw that.
Yes.
It made my heart
They
happy.
did mostly through the Our Place in Mansfield, but it was a joint effort by those two brothers. And I thought, Now that's what pro-life is.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
And that's stepping up to the plate, and regardless of one's opinion of the politics and all this, that's what we're talking about. And I hope we see more like that. I hope we see more of these type of operations.
Yeah.
Where you're able to, reach out to the community and they start responding and say, okay, I wanted this ruling to be this way. Now I'm going to step up. My wife and I were talking about this just yesterday, in fact. And so, it's going to be some bucks, and it's all right. It's all right.
Yeah.
It's all right.
Well, and with that in our heart and mind, one of the things that we're doing in July is really trying to meet families wherever they are. And so we have this big diaper days push where we're trying to get out as many diapers as we can. And so we'll be out and about over the next month. We'll be July 8th. We'll be at the Alvarado Library from 11 to 5. If you do need to call ahead of time to reserve your spot at these locations, but we'll be where you are is the heart.
Right.
July 11th, we'll be at the Brick in Burleson. I'm usually there on Mondays anyway. Friday, July 15th, we'll be at Crazy 8 Ministries in Joshua. You don't have to be affiliated with any of these places to take part. Just give us a call and schedule your time. And then we have a couple of other times at our Fort Worth and Burleson office. Really, we have diapers to give. And so if you need them, give us a call and we can figure out when the best time for you to come by and pick those up, have a conversation.
And the number is
817-295-4101.
One more time?
817-295-4101.
Yeah, because every time I hear these on the radio or something like that, I'm like, wait a minute, I'm trying to write that down.
Yeah, I'm going to put
it.
Let me put it in the comments too.
Okay. Well, and so, but this, I need to keep this page. I'd like to put it in when this comes out on the podcast, be able to, put this in the comments as well. Also, it's on YouTube as well. So right now, I've added that since we last been here, and
Nice.
and then the YouTube channel has picked up some decent numbers. I've had some that have been
Awesome.
really good. Some is like, that's not so good, but who cares? Anyway, but I see all these things that you've been giving out here, and the prenatal classes look like they're booming.
Yes.
Child
Some good
accessories are
information.
booming. Yes. When I heard about the formula shortage, I don't have any small children. I don't have any small grandchildren, and so it didn't really occur to me until a couple of days later how this would affect y'all. But I'm sure it has. It's. To me, it's unbelievable that it happened, but that's another comment for another day. There you go. Toiletries, man, y'all are really putting out a lot of product out there, and it's all donated, right?
Yep.
Either you bought it through donations or maybe some of the stores and maybe donated.
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
that we have had lots of groups who've done baby showers for us and brought in the baby items and things like that. But things that you might not think about is when they come in, anytime we're giving a gift bag, we're also including a toiletry item for mom or dad. We're also including a clothing item for mom or dad. Depending on who it's like, if it's a mom gift or a dad gift.
When's your next big fundraiser?
It is we have two coming in the next couple months. We're participating in North Texas Giving Day on September 22nd. That opens up September 1st, so it gives you a minute to look at what you want to give. But we're hoping to raise $10,000 that month to go towards expanding our baby boutique so that we can have more supplies and more baby clothes and more items as we're seeing this increase of need.
But you have you don't have a Walk for Life. That was in April, right?
That was in April, and then in October 11th
That's what I was thinking.
is our fall fundraising dinner.
That's what I was thinking.
Yes, that'll be October 11th, so you can save the date. It's going to be at the James in Joshua this time, which the James Event Center.
I've heard it's very nice.
It's very nice.
I haven't been there,
yes.
but I've heard several people have done events there, and they said, it's a very nice facility for what you're doing.
Yes.
Well, I'm going to go run through the sponsors real quick because they're getting close on time, and I'll let y'all have the last words as always because you can tell us what we want. You want us to know. I'm really glad for the work y'all do. I mean, it really, truly is God's work, and it's a great thing for this community to take part in. It puts our faith where our mouth is, And so, well, God bless both of you. But anyway, I'll just run through the sponsors. Thank you to Daniel CrossFit Burleson, 317 Southwest. Say it right, Demi. Southwest Wilshire. I'm going too fast. 317 Southwest Wilshire. Check out the webpage for the training programs and for the memberships. Shandy, thank you for all you're doing. The 817life.com page, she's does similar things like this throughout the whole 817 zone. So there you are. Shandy Stogsdill can help you with your real estate needs here in this area of the state, because it's, you need somebody with some experience, just like you need somebody in the financial world with Rex Russell. And he'll come meet you wherever you are. Hit the myfinancialbox.com link and get to know him. He has a very entertaining introductory video, and he can help you through all these retirement plans and what's happening with them right now. Thank you to Gala over at Southern Gem. Not just nice jewelry, which is very nice, but also all the jewelry services you need. On the top of the Woodmiller building, she's expanding also. She'll be in a much bigger spot downstairs. Right now she's on the 3rd floor, and in about 6 months from now she'll be on the bottom floor in bigger space. So there you are. But she's not moving from the building. Thank you to Michelle at Hotworks. Like I said, she'll be on next Thursday. We're going to just talk about stuff, and not just her workout plans, even though we'll talk about that too. But we'll tell me what's on her mind, because there's a lot of people that have been pretty just settled by this last few weeks. Not just Friday, but there's a lot of things going on in the world. So anyway, Hotworks over on 731. Also, thank you to Creative Concepts by Mandy. I'll be seeing you tomorrow. I would look forward to it. Taylor says he must have a hat. And is that right?
You got it.
Yeah.
Is that check going to be in the
And yeah, and for your assistant there, I'll get Charity a coffee cup too. All right.
Nice.
She's going to want one. You know what you think? He doesn't have his earbuds on. He can't hear me.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, whatever. So, he just agreed to give me $100. He didn't know that. Anyway, so Creative Concepts by Mandy. Also, thank you to Otto at our place. I'll see you tomorrow. Just hope you're doing well. Thank you for your community service, as you exemplified earlier with this crisis we had with baby formula. Thank you to Wild Cigar. It really is a nice place. I mean, you go in there, and if you're not in, it has a full bar, but they also have non-alcoholic stuff too. If you don't just want to go and have a nice place to visit.
My husband wants to check that out this weekend.
I hope so. Is he a cigar smoker?
Yeah.
Well, see, the thing
Kind
is,
of.
that's a good place to go, because if you're not really like an expert in cigars, they have experts in cigars, and you'll say, "What do you want what kind of aftertaste you want? What kind of smoke are you looking for?" And blah blah blah. And so they got the whole thing going on over there. It's also in the Standard. Thank you to Antonio. I appreciate your raising your hand. I hope if you want to talk to these ladies, they're around all the time. They work. You're open mostly 4 days a week, right?
Yes, we're hoping to expand that to 5 days very soon.
Very soon. Well, a lot of that has
summer.
to do with, you do have limited
Funding.
resources, so there you are. So Proactive Payment Solutions, you want to upgrade your point of sales operations, talk to Antonio. And like I said, the Local Life magazine is out. Local Life TX is up. Check out this issue. It should be in your box this week, if not already. And it's a really great place to advertise. I advertise in it, and I get people that call in and say, "What is this podcast business?" Or "How do I get on?" Or what do you talk about? That kind of stuff. And so it works. And no doubt it does. And so there you are. And also the 4th of July operation. Check out the QR code. Okay, who wants to go first? Tell us what you need and what you want us to know.
I want to go. For Anthony, was it Anthony, right?
Antonio.
And anyone else, we have had so many phone calls and people stop by, like Megan said, how can I help? So we decided next Thursday night at 6:30 at the center, we are going to host an informational meeting for anyone who's interested in volunteering on how that works, what opportunities we have. So if anyone is interested in coming to that, just give us a call at the center so we just know how many people we're expecting.
No, what day again?
Next Thursday.
Okay.
July 7th?
The 7th, yes.
Mhm.
At
There you
6,
go.
at 6:30.
I got a phone call right during the show. I told you, Mr. President, don't call me when I'm on the air. He never listens.
Never.
Well, he forgets a lot.
Maybe he changed his mind.
That would be That would be something. I'll let that
Never
go.
happened.
I just don't want to touch that one. All right. But anyway.
Kidding.
Yeah. But anyway, so next Thursday.
Next Thursday at 6:30.
Okay. At the center.
At the center.
Okay. And you're handling all the social media and the fundraising and everything else that they drop on you,
You
huh?
can find us on Instagram at Next Step WC Heroes, or you can find us on Facebook at Next Step. I think it's WC Heroes Burleson Fort Worth. And so you can keep up with what's going on. We have a private group too that if you're interested in keeping up with all the day-to-days. But also we are looking to expand, and we do see a huge need coming. And so if you are interested in giving or helping or anything, you can find ways to do that at nextstepheroes.com. And or you can call us or stop by the center. We are always around and ready to show you around and chat and just share what's going on.
Well, and I'll just end with this, like I said last week, and I've said throughout this show, it's time for the pro-life side to step up. You know, we this is something we've been wanting for a long time, but I think a lot of people, I think it's going to dawn on what this really means.
Absolutely.
And it means not just a commitment of money, but also of the commitment of our emotions, our prayer life, whatever you want to talk about. Talents, you betcha. And also one last thing, there are some people that are pretty upset by this decision. We need to treat them with compassion.
Yes.
You know, we can't look upon them like, hey, we won, you lost, so shut up. No, there's nothing inherently Christian about that attitude either. You know, we need to understand there are a lot of upset people, and we need to be, thoughtful in our comments and thoughtful in how we approach people that may not be as excited about this as pro-life people are. So anyway, it's a tough time in this country, but we'll get through it. It's one of the values of being a history teacher. I could tell you some tough times, blah blah blah. And so get out your notes.
They got through this. We'll be fine.
Yeah, but anyway, I appreciate y'all coming on. We got to do this again when it's closer to Giving Thursday or Tuesday rather. Tuesday in September, in a couple of months. Thank you, Taylor. Tell your man Friday thank you as well.
Yes.
He's making sure that he's getting in all the steps down. We're taking July 4th off, so my next show will be Tuesday with Sabrina Daniels of the Burleson Chamber of Commerce, so we can look forward to that. Bye-bye.